I've kept quiet about this for years, but November is not what you think it is. Every November, somewhere in Europe, someone breaks one of the old rules, and something takes them. I used to think they were coincidences. Then it happened on my own street. I live in a small town near the Welsh border. It rains more than it shines, and the fog crawls in from the forest every night. People here still leave salt at their windowsills, not because they believe in superstition, but because it's easier than explaining what's been happening for decades. I started keeping notes in 2016, the first year I noticed the pattern. Since then, I've recorded every disappearance, every strange phone call, every unexplainable thing that only happens between the 1st and the 10th of November. 10 days, 10 warnings. Ignore them, and you don't get to see the 11th. 1. Never remove your Halloween decorations before sunrise on November 1st. Mr. Coleman lived 2 doors down, retired railway worker, always outside sweeping leaves even when the wind just blew more down. Halloween night, his porch was covered with fake cobwebs and an orange plastic pumpkin that blinked like a heartbeat. By midnight, the children were home and the streets were empty. I remember seeing him through my window, already taking everything down. He said he hated clutter. At 12:07 a.m., I heard 3 dull thuds from his direction. Then, nothing. By morning, his porch light was still glowing. His phone lay on the steps beside a half-rolled garbage bag. He was gone. The police searched for weeks. No struggle, no footprints. His front door was locked from the inside. When they finally opened it, the living room was spotless, except for one thing: a small trail of damp leaves leading from the back door to the center of the carpet, ending right beneath the spot where he'd hung the fake spider web. For years, neighbors said maybe he'd wandered off. But every Halloween since then, that same porch light flickers for exactly 12 minutes after midnight, though no one lives there anymore. 2. Never look out your window between 3 and 3:15 a.m. on November 2nd. The second rule came from my cousin Peter. He was a night shift nurse in Manchester, used to odd hours and sleepless nights. On November 2nd, 2018, he called me just before 3. He sounded uneasy, said something felt off, like the air had gone thick. I told him to go to bed. He laughed, said he'd check the noise outside first. I heard the phone drop. The line stayed open for 8 minutes. All I heard was soft breathing, not his, and the faint creak of floorboards. Police later found his apartment door ajar, key still inside. His slippers were by the window, and the window itself was open, though it had rained all night. The strange part? Outside on the wet pavement, there were 2 sets of footprints, Peter's and another that looked barefoot, smaller, leading towards the building but never away. When I asked his neighbors, one old woman finally admitted she'd looked out too. She said there was someone standing in the yard at exactly 3:05, a shape so tall its head nearly touched the second-floor window. She closed her curtains and pretended she hadn't seen it. Since then, I never check my window between 3 and 3:15. I don't even glance at the reflection. You shouldn't either. 3. Never ignore a knock at your door after midnight on November 3rd. This one sounds harmless until you've heard that knock. 3 slow taps, a pause, then 2 more. It happened to a girl named Eliza who lived 3 houses up from me. She was 19, home from university for the weekend. That night, her parents were away, and she texted friends that someone was knocking at the door again and again. They told her it was probably a drunk neighbor. At 12:43 a.m., she sent her last message. It stopped. I think they left. By morning, her dog was barking nonstop. When police entered, the house smelled of damp soil, like freshly turned earth after rain. Eliza's phone was on the kitchen floor, camera open, recording static. Her dog refused to go upstairs for days, whining and scratching at the bottom step when anyone tried. They found footprints near the door, bare, muddy, small as a child's, and handprints on the inside of the glass, pressed from within, though the door was locked. Every November 3rd since then, someone in the neighborhood hears that same knocking pattern echo faintly through the walls. 4. Never answer your phone when it rings only once on November 4th. This rule was the one I ignored. I didn't believe it until it happened to someone I knew well, Saad, my coworker at the time. She was one of those people who always kept her phone close, even during meetings. On November 4th, just after 11 p.m., her phone rang once, just one vibration, then stopped. The caller ID was blank, not unknown, not no caller ID, just nothing. I told her it was probably a glitch. She laughed and called it some tech ghost story. Then she picked up when it rang again. I was on a call with her when she suddenly went quiet. I remember asking, "Saad, hello?" Her breathing grew shaky and she whispered, "It's me." I thought she meant me, that she was talking to me. But her tone, it wasn't confused, it was horrified. Then she said something I'll never forget. Her voice trembled. "I told you not to answer." The line went dead. Her neighbors found her minutes later, collapsed on the kitchen floor, her phone still clutched in her hand. The call history showed a 1-second incoming call, marked "from you." I never pick up after a single ring anymore. And every year on November 4th, my phone still rings once around midnight, from my own number. 5. Never take mirrors outside your room on November 5th. This one came from the old woman who lived below me in my first apartment. She said mirrors were doors that don't always close right, especially in early November. I thought she was just superstitious until a tenant down the hall broke that rule. Her name was Lena, a quiet, tidy woman who loved to clean late at night while listening to old jazz records. On the night of November 5th, she dragged her dressing mirror into the hallway to dust behind it. Around 11:30, the mirror slipped, hit the floor, and cracked. The CCTV from the hallway caught everything. At first, she knelt to pick up the shards. Then she froze, still kneeling, and stared into the largest piece. Her reflection didn't freeze. It kept moving, a fraction slower than her, smiling faintly when she didn't. Then Lena blinked. The reflection didn't. It just kept smiling. She screamed once, and the camera feed cut out. When security arrived, she was gone. Only her cleaning rag remained, folded neatly beside the broken glass. No one ever rented that flat again. And on every November 5th since, building maintenance says the hallway camera flickers around 11:30 p.m., even though the system has been replaced twice. 6. Never leave a candle burning past 1 a.m. on November 6th. This rule came from my Aunt Clara. She was deeply religious, the kind who believed prayer could protect against anything. She lit candles every night at midnight and prayed until she fell asleep. On November 6th, she must have drifted off before blowing them out. Her neighbors later said they saw 2 shadows moving across her bedroom window around 1:12 a.m. One was clearly hers. The other was taller, thinner, moving the opposite way. When they knocked the next morning, she didn't answer. Her bed was neatly made, but there were soot marks on the pillow, shaped like fingerprints. The candle had burned itself out on the nightstand. The wax trail wasn't random, it curved like handwriting. When I looked closer, I realized it spelled something. One word: stay. Every November since then, when I light a candle for her, the flame bends sharply east toward her old house, as if something is still waiting there. 7. Never sleep with both feet uncovered on November 7th. This one sounds silly, but I swear it's real. In 2020, I shared a flat with a girl named Hannah while saving up for my own place. We both laughed about my list of November rules. She said it was all urban legend nonsense. That is, until she forgot one. It was early morning, November 7th. She had fallen asleep watching a film on her laptop. I woke to a muffled scream, short and sharp, like someone gasping underwater. I rushed into her room. She was sitting up, pale, shaking, with bruises circling both ankles, like she'd been grabbed. No sign of forced entry. The window was locked. She said she felt something cold slide over her feet, then a weight at the end of the bed, like someone sitting there. When she tried to pull her legs back, something held her down. She finally broke free when she turned on the light. The bruises looked like fingers, long ones. We moved out that weekend. But here's the part that still bothers me. That night, my phone camera, which I keep charging in my room, turned on by itself. The footage showed my bed, and for exactly 6 seconds, something was standing at the end, tall, motionless, before vanishing when the light flicked on in Hannah's room. Number 8. Never keep your window open after 2:30 a.m. on November 8th. There's a kind of stillness that only happens after 2 a.m. You can hear the world breathing. Every sound feels louder, sharper, almost alive. That's why a man named Victor thought it was fine to open his window. It was 2:32 a.m., and he'd been working late in his home office. He posted online that he needed fresh air. His wife, asleep in the next room, woke around 3 to the sound of whispering. She went to check on him. His chair was empty, his window wide open. Outside, the ground was damp from rain. She noticed something strange, muddy handprints all over the sill. But the weird part? The prints were child-sized, and they started from the outside, nearly 2 meters high, like someone small had climbed up from below. The police searched the garden. No footprints in the mud, no sign of forced entry. Just those impossible, tiny hands pressed against the wall. And Victor was gone. 2 weeks later, the wife uploaded doorbell camera footage, hoping for answers. At exactly 2:31 a.m., the footage glitched. Static filled the screen. Then, for one frame, a shadow appeared at the window. It looked like a child, but the proportions were wrong. Too long, too thin. The police told her to take the video down. It's not online anymore, but if you stay up past 2:30 a.m. on November 8th and open your window, some people say they still hear tapping on the glass, like small fingers asking to be let in. Number 9. Never whistle inside your house on November 9th. This rule feels harmless, but it's one of the oldest. They say whistling at night calls things that listen, but it's easy to forget that until you see it happen yourself. There was a teacher from the next town, Miss Reiner. She loved TikTok, used to make those late-night fun videos where she'd tell urban legends. On November 9th last year, she posted a clip titled Whistling After Midnight Challenge. At 12:02 a.m., she started recording. The video began normal. She whistled a soft tune, something old, like a lullaby. Then she laughed and said, "Nothing happened, see?" But at the end of the clip, when she turned to leave, there was a faint whistle echoing back. Same melody, same pitch, but slower, almost mocking her. She uploaded it anyway. Within hours, the comments were flooded. Rewatch at 0:13, there's someone behind her. Pause at 0:10, what's that shadow by the curtains? 2 days later, the video disappeared. Not deleted, just gone. And her account audio, every clip that used her voice was replaced with that same tune, slower, distorted. When her family tried to log in, TikTok showed a message. This account no longer exists. But if you search her name now, once a year, only around November, her account reappears for a few minutes. One video, one sound, just that tune, whistled by someone else. Number 10. Never go walking alone after 10 p.m. on November 10th. This one is personal because I broke it. It was 2 years ago, November 10th. I was tired from work, couldn't sleep, and decided to take a short walk through the park. It was cold, the kind of cold that bites through your jacket and settles in your bones. The town was silent, no traffic, no wind, just that hollow stillness. As I passed the old church, my phone buzzed once. A notification, a photo. It was me, standing right there, outside the church. Same clothes, same position, but the picture had been taken from behind me. I turned around immediately. Nothing, just fog. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Not heavy ones, but soft, deliberate steps that stopped whenever I stopped. I tried to call someone, anyone, but the line kept cutting out. The last thing I remember clearly was the clock from the church tower striking 10. The sound echoed too long, like each toll was stretching, blending into a deep hum. Then, behind me, a whisper. Low, calm, familiar. You made it to the 10th. I woke up in my bed the next morning, mud on my shoes, my phone dead. The photo? Gone from my gallery. But there's something else. Every night since then, on November 10th, I find new dirt by my door. Fresh footprints, one coming in, one going out. And every time, the outgoing ones are deeper, heavier. Like whatever left is getting stronger. I used to think all these were coincidences, just strange stories that happened to different people. Until last year, when I started connecting the dates. November 1st, gone before sunrise. November 2nd, vanished after looking outside. November 3rd, something knocking at midnight. And so on. Each rule tied to the next. Each disappearance closer to the 10th. I went back through old police reports, missing person notices, even local news archives. Every November, the same pattern repeats. 10 days, 10 people. Always different towns, but the timeline never changes. And then, nothing. Silence. Until the next year.